Mike with GRETA'S Guns, and today we're going to talk a little bit about 5.56 versus 300 Blackout. So first we'll start with 5.56. We have an LWRC ICSPR here. Self-regulating gas piston gun. These are nice. Even if you had a direct impingement rifle, it doesn't really matter. 5.56 and 300 Blackout can both be built basically in the same frames. They're both mil-spec, ready. You can build either or. You can even get 5.56 uppers and 300 Blackout uppers, and they're interchangeable on the same lower. So if you have a lower you like or a trigger you like in a certain lower, you can just change the uppers. So they're a little bit different. They kind of have different applications. So 5.56 is nice, 55 through 62 grains, kind of standard, and you're over 3,000 feet per second. So this is really supersonic. There's plenty of 5.56 or 223 around. You can shoot either or out of a 5.56. And it's relatively inexpensive to shoot as far as a rifle goes. The caliber is good to about 500-600 meters, and everybody's got one. So really nothing wrong with 5.56, although 5.56 and 300 Blackout are kind of application specific. You don't necessarily want to use a 5.56 for home defense, especially if you live in a suburb or you have family members in the house. You do have an issue with penetrating walls and over penetration, killing your neighbor, killing a family member. Not really the best home defense setup, but if you have a ranch or something, that might be a viable option for you. All right, then we have Dandle Defense's Integral 300 Blackout. One of the big things to note is that the standard barrel length for a 5.56, or the most optimum barrel length for a 5.56, is 12 to 14 inches, where a 300 Blackout optimum barrel length is 8.5 to 9 inches. So if you have a pistol or you do happen to run a suppressor, then it is nice because you're running a pistol gas system in a 300 Blackout almost all the time. Now, one of the big differences between the two as far as operating systems go is that a 300 Blackout with mil-spec parts will run supersonic or subsonic reliably, and it will cycle. Where if you have a standard mil-spec 5.56 and you put subsonics through it, 99% of the time it's not going to cycle. Yes, you can make them cycle, but then once you have it set up for subs, you don't really want to switch back to supers without changing the parts out. So as a home defense application, if you want to run something quieter, even if you don't have a suppressor, it is much quieter shooting subsonic as opposed to supersonic. So if you're going to want a rifle caliber, you're going to have less potential penetration, although a subsonic 300 Blackout is typically 200 plus grain. So it's heavy. Although it's slow moving, it is heavy and you do have some penetration, but you shouldn't penetrate quite as much as a 5.56. One nice thing, again, reliable and supersonic or subsonic cartridges. And the nice thing is they're interchangeable, so you can really set these things up. If you have a favorite 5.56 setup, you can set your 300 Blackout up exactly the same way. 300 Blackout subsonics are typically, maximum effective range is 100 to 150 meters. Even at supersonic, 300 to 400 at the very most, which isn't very far. Where, again, with a 5.56, you're going to be pushing 500-600 meters pretty easy. Nice thing with running 300 Blackout subs is you don't need ears. These things are super quiet. These are 55 grain 5.56 rounds, so they're supersonic. They're a little louder. You get the sonic crack, but still manageable with a can. If you have any questions about a build or which caliber may work better for your application, hit us up in the comments, and our contact information is in the description below.